All right, so diets for psoriasis, which one do you choose? Good question, isn't it? And so I'm gonna go through certain diets that people have come into our clinic and been following because they thought it would help them with psoriasis. Some of them were right, some of them weren't right. But I'm gonna go through the three most common ones that there are. So I'm gonna talk about the keto diet versus the carnivore diet versus being vegan, going vegan. And then at the end, I'm gonna give you my recommendations on what eating plan I would recommend. And it's kind of a mixture of a lot of things, but let's start with this. So again, today's video, what you're gonna get out of this video is you're gonna understand the difference between keto, carnivore, and vegan, and which one is gonna be the most beneficial for autoimmune issues and psoriasis. So we got keto number one. I'm gonna go, really how I'm gonna take this is I'm gonna put keto fails and wins, and then same thing with carnivore fails and wins, and vegan fails and wins. And the reason I'm doing that is to kind of show what people don't do right in those diets, or why those diets might not be as beneficial for psoriasis, and why those diets can be beneficial for psoriasis, and what the right way to do them is, okay? So number one, the keto diet. Keto diet, the things that people typically, the reason people will do a ketogenic diet, the ketogenic diet, and get results in terms of psoriasis, autoimmunity, things like that, is because they're removing a lot of the preservatives, the chemicals, the boxed foods that we're eating that are actually making us sick. And so you remove foods that you're eating that are making you sick and you get better, right? So that's a pretty good reason. And a lot of times ketogenic diet people will typically go more towards meat and fat and less towards vegetables. They'll remove the pasta, rice, grains, breads, sugars, which are the first thing you want to remove if you're gonna get healthy in general, and if you want to get rid of an autoimmune disease, those are an absolute. So first is you remove foods, and so that's a win, right? The second thing that's a win for the ketogenic diet is you're going to eat fat. And for a long time, we were told fat was a bad thing. Even still, when you go to the grocery store, they still had the fat content percentages on the meat. So some people that want the low fat meat, or the low fat this or low fat that. I remember when I was a kid, my mom was very health conscious. She used to run marathons, and she was really trying to be healthy. She used to be the president of the American Heart Association in our area. I mean, it was a big deal to her for health. But unfortunately, the people that were teaching her was the government, and we followed the government. We just thought they were what they said was right for us, and they taught the food pyramid and low-fat diets. So guess what we ate? We had the TV dinner, healthy choices that were low-fat. We had the healthy choice bars, and all these different low-fat things. Well, by us eating low fat, did that help society? Did people get less fat, better hormones, less anxiety, less depression? No. We got worse hormones, we got more fat, obesity, I'm sorry. We got more or worse hormones. Our anxiety and depression skyrocketed because fat is so essential for every one of those things. To burn fat, you have to eat fat. If you want to burn fat, you have to have healthy hormones. You have to eat fat. Fat is a crucial part of our diet. It surrounds every cell. Most processes, the brain functions on fat, or a lot of the brain functions on fat. It's surrounded by fat. It's an insulation. There's just so many benefits to eating good, healthy fat. And so the ketogenic diet brings that to the forefront and gives people the permission to eat butter again, right? Good grass-fed organic butter. It gives people permission to eat fat again. And I think that's a good thing. And so I'm actually a big fan of the ketogenic diet for a lot of reasons. So that's one of them. The other is it typically gets rid of bad food, preservative foods. Now the fails, the things that people mess up with on the ketogenic diet and is very common, is that ketogenic diet has become very commercialized, which means people think they're following a ketogenic diet when they're not, meaning it's just everybody calls everything keto. If you go in the grocery store and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna follow a ketogenic diet, walk into a grocery store and it has the keto sign on it, you think it's good for you because it's part of the diet you're following, so you get it. But then it's not actually good for you, if you know what I mean. Or we follow a ketogenic diet and we eat, just regular conventional meat. We don't pay attention to the quality. The quality is key. So another fail is that people eat very low quality foods on the ketogenic diet, like bacon on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, and things like that, and grain-fed animals, and really just inflammatory foods. And so they're failing the ketogenic diet, even though they would say they did the ketogenic diet and it didn't work. The next thing on there is it doesn't get rid of foods that are still really difficult for a lot of people to digest, specifically people that have digestive issues or someone that has an autoimmune issue. So things like with high lectin count, things with high oxalates, things that just are really hard to digest in the body, it still has those foods in there. And so for someone with psoriasis, I feel you got to go a little bit more, in some terms, extreme on the food you're eating. And then finally, when you haven't eaten a lot of fat, or you've eaten really poorly over your lifetime, a lot of high fructose corn syrups and a lot of different preservatives, you tend to get sluggish gallbladder issues where your gallbladder isn't functioning very well. And if I add in a bunch of fat into someone who has a very sluggish gallbladder, they're not going to do so hot. They're going to get really nauseous. It's going to cause the gallbladder to back up more. A lot of the seed oils that we've eaten over the years and hydrogenated oils have caused our gallbladders to be a mess. And so again, the ketogenic diet can be effective, but you really want to be tracked properly if you're going to pick that to help you get rid of psoriasis. You want to work with someone in that process. So that's the ketogenic diet. Now, what's that versus the carnivore diet? Well, the carnivore diet is similar, but it takes even the vegetables out. With the ketogenic diet, you should still be eating your broccoli, your vegetables and things like that. With the carnivore diet, you're gonna take all that out. You're just eating meat. And there's some benefits to that. And I would say if I had to pick the eating plan that people have just come in with, they've scheduled a consult with me and I say, what have you done that's worked or has helped you in the past? The carnivore diet is going to be the one that sticks out the most. And that's cool. Or in the comments that people say I did the carnivore diet and it went away. And here's why. It's because in the wins, this is the wins department for the carnivore diet, is you're taking out foods that your body doesn't like, right? You're taking out foods that you're creating an immune response to. So whether it's healthy foods like vegetables that your body's creating an immune response to, or your digestive system is a mess and you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and eating those raw vegetables and other vegetables is just feeding the bacteria, making you worse. If you're someone that you eat vegetables, especially raw vegetables, and you feel bloated, good possibility that you have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And so you're removing all those foods. You're also removing the same stuff like with you removed keto, the preservatives, the chemicals. Ideally, if you're following the carnivore diet, you're not going to fast food in places like that. But that would lead me to the fails of the carnivore diet, is that a lot of people that do the carnivore diet don't follow it in terms of quality food. So high quality food is still very important no matter what you're eating. It's quality versus quantity. It's not how many calories, it's how good the food is what's most important. And so people on the carnivore diet will eat very low quality foods many times. And I would say the people that I consult with and work with that have followed the ketogenic diet, the carnivore diet, and it said it didn't work for me at all, are the people that do conventional meat, that do meats raised fed grains and pumped full of antibiotics and hormones, that still drink the dairy, that still eat a lot of inflammatory cheeses, still eat conventional chicken eggs, lots of pork, they still eat lots of bacon, and those things are just really toxic for our bodies. And so they're not getting better because they're eating poor quality food, and it's still creating inflammation. Remember, guys, it all goes back to, again, picking a diet and picking how you eat all goes back to nutrients and minerals and decreased stress on your body. Okay, so if you're not decreasing stress on your body and you're not getting the nutrients and minerals, it's not going to work, right? So the carnivore diet versus keto, and if I had to pick and say here's the one to do for psoriasis at a high quality, exactly how you're supposed to do them, I'd pick carnivore over keto for someone with psoriasis. Not for long term, but for a 3-month period of time. And that's just without doing any testing, saying here, this one's probably gonna do the best for you. I'd pick carnivore. Now, the last one is vegan, which I'm not a fan of at all. And I know I just probably lost viewers and subscribers by saying that. But if you go back, I actually did a video specifically on why you shouldn't go vegan. And I'm not a big fan of it for one reason. It's not my opinion. It's not anything about what I like to eat versus what I don't like to eat. It's the patients that have come in that have been on a vegan diet are the ones that tend to have the worst blood work and the most unhealthiest. And that seems weird because vegetables are high in antioxidants. They're very nutrient dense, and high in fiber, things like that. But here's the wins, okay? So the wins from the vegan diet, and some people have gone vegan and gotten rid of psoriasis. That's true. But they're not typically healthy. The psoriasis went away because they got rid of foods, again, that their body was creating an immune response to. You can have an immune response, but still reduce that immune response that's creating psoriasis, but still have an unhealthy body. And I actually had a patient that bought our course and was excited to start the course and canceled and wanted a refund and wanted to not do the course simply because she was vegan and my eating plan had meat in it. And I understand that. That's a personal thing. And so I'm not going into the why vegan versus not vegan in terms of a morality. That's individualized, what people want to do for their own morals. That's fine. But what I'm talking about is the quality and nutrients of the foods. So the win is you're removing food, so a lot of times you'll get better in that process. The fails is you're going to typically eat, when you're vegan, high amounts of grains and higher amounts of legumes. And grains and legumes grains especially, are very inflammatory to our body. You're going to typically have a lot of gluten in there. You're going to have a lot of gliadin in there, which I don't talk about much, but you're going to find that along with gluten. You're also going to have a lot of lectins and oxalates in that eating plan as well. And you're typically going to see issues. Okay, so just kind of leaving it at that. The thing I see in blood work is high homocysteine levels, and we're not getting enough. Homocysteine levels is a direct marker of heart disease, and when it's high, it means your body's not detoxing very well. It means you're not getting enough methylation in the process, and that's because a lot of the stuff that you need, B12 and different B vitamins, are going to be in the meat. You're also not going to get some of the amino acids that your body needs to produce muscle and things like that, so you're going to have breakdown in the arteries and breakdown in the heart and things like that. So vegan's not the direction to go in my opinion. Don't hate me for it, but if I had to pick between keto, carnivore, and vegan, I would pick the carnivore diet for psoriasis, and I would do it high quality, make sure you're getting good foods into your system. Tips on the carnivore diet: add in bone broth and add in organ meats. Whether you're eating them or whether you're taking them in a desiccated form, they can help give a lot of the nutrients that you could be missing with that. And then finally, maybe add in some fiber like inulin or psyllium husk, organic psyllium husk, as well when you're taking that. And that can be very helpful. And maybe even a probiotic here and there as well. Okay. My bonus, what I would do is that if I had the perfect world scenario, you're sitting down across from a table with me and we're looking at your blood work, we're looking at your testing, we're consulting on how to get you better with psoriasis, I'm most likely going to give you my gut healing diet. And that's not to say those diets are not good. The gut healing diet is essentially the ketogenic diet with food, taking out the foods that are hard to digest and taking out the foods that feed bacteria. And for some people, even reducing some of the oxalates. And you can say, well, what's there left to eat? There's a lot left to eat, actually. It's pretty abundant. There's plenty of food on this eating plan. If you want that eating plan, just put it in the comments. I'll send you over the link and you get the PDF for it. And start to follow it. I've gotten lots of great feedback on it. People just really changing their lives. The last patient I talked to about this was yesterday, and it's been 3 weeks since he started. 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks since he started, but he's lost 20 pounds and he's already in his skin. His joints don't hurt anymore. He has psoriatic arthritis. His joints aren't hurting near as much. He can run, he can move. He just cut down a bunch of trees. So it works. So yeah, follow that gut healing diet. If you want to do the whole shebang with us, get the psoriasis course. Guys, it's awesome. We've gotten some cool stuff happening with that. If you want the psoriasis course, just ask for it. I'll send you over a link to purchase that. There is a cost for it because it is everything I could possibly add in something to give you with psoriasis without just literally working with you one-on-one, okay? And so get that, okay? Share this stuff. Hey, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get the notifications when we're doing it. And yeah, you guys have an awesome day. We'll talk to you next time.